So in today's concept, simplified and most important questions, we are going to understand what is professional skepticism in a good elaboration. We'll be creating a simple story for the whole concept, and it will be completed in a manner after which you'll be able to recall it in just 2 to 3 minutes. So every time you have to read this concept again, it will take hardly 2 to 3 minutes. And let's start understanding professional skepticism. So what is professional skepticism? It's a combination of two words, professional and skepticism. And skepticism, if you go about the definition, the simple meaning through Google search, the meaning comes as doubt as to the truth of something. So this doubt as to the truth of something means that there is something which is truthful, but there is doubt about its truthfulness to the completely 100%. And now the question arises, why do we doubt about it? If somebody said something to you and you are not able to really be convinced about the fact that it is totally truthful, the reason is either there is some circumstances in which such information is being provided to you, either there is some indication which is along with available, which does not allow you to believe the whole truthfulness of such thing. Let's take a simple example of a girlfriend or a wife. And girlfriend may be busy, you would be busy talking on your mobile, and your girlfriend might end up, giving you calls, and your number is always busy, and she'll be like, "Why is your number always busy?" And you'll be like, "Boss, I'm doing work, so I need to have, be talking to so many people." And there are chances that our number is going to be busy, obviously. But now if you talk about a wife, she is always very, very alert about everything that you do. If one fine night you come back and she, smells the shirt and she sees that there is something different about the perfume today, so she asks you, what exactly is going on? And you're like, what is going on? And she'd be like, what is this perfume on your shirt? I've never ever smelled any such thing that you have. A shop was just spraying in the morning, and that idiot ended up, putting some on me, and that's what it is. Really? Yeah, of course, you can call a shock. He may be right. But she will capture this in clearly in her mind. But, and whenever the situation comes again of any different sort, which points towards the similar situation, then she will again, keep this captured in her mind, and she will keep this as an alertness indicator. Whenever another thing happens, she will combine both of the things and might end up, reaching the right truth that you have been hiding. Another thing that is said about an auditor is that an auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Now, what exactly is a watchdog? We have been, I'll not say we have been, but basically an auditor has been compared with two breeds of the dog. One is a dog which is basically not an investigator, but one who remains vigilant. Vigilant means it remains alert. It does not start barking. It prima facie consider people to be genuine. But if there is anything that is fishy, it will always end up thinking. It will always end up, being very alert about their actions, about the way they are behaving and everything. When we talk about bloodhound are a special breed of dogs. These are basically dogs which have very, very high level of sniffing powers. They can smell very, very strong, and for that reason, they are used by the police squads. And so these dogs are used for investigative purposes. It's not that the dog has that habit of going for investigation, but it has very strong smelling power, because of which it is used prima facie in the beginning for investigations by police squads. So we are not bloodhounds. We have not been kept with the bloodhounds, but with the dog which is vigilant, but who takes things as prima facie genuine. And whenever a situation arises which causes us to think that there can be something fishy, till then it is not going to go beyond a certain limit. So that's what it is. Now we understand what exactly is the definition of this professional skepticism. An attitude that includes being alert to conditions which may indicate possible misstatement due to error or fraud. A questioning mind and critical assessment of audit evidence. That's quite long. That seems like, it is going to take some time to capture it. The simple code for this is ACA. ACA is AQCA. AQCA is code for alert, being alert. And then the next code is for questioning mind, Q, and then CA is for critical assessment. What exactly do these three words mean? First of all, what is ACA? ACA is basically that genie that came out from Aladdin's Chirag that we have been seeing in different cartoons and many pictures. So basically it just pops out of the Chirag and it just asks you, Kya hukm hai mere Aka? That Aka is what we are using here. So what we are saying here is that we need to be alert to conditions which may indicate possible misstatements due to error or fraud. Matlab, meaning there are possible indications available which can, more importantly, point us towards the fact that something is there that needs to be given an eye, something is there which needs to be put a focus on, something is there which needs to be taken care of along with what is being said. It could be a circumstance, it could be an indicator, it could be if I go about telling you with respect to clarity now in our context of accounting, then it could be, that there is internal controls are not working fine, that there is some problem with the internal controls, management's behavior does not seem fine, their way of responding does not seem fine, documents being asked are not provided, the documents being checked seem manipulated, or any such other information. So whenever it says it is an attitude of being alert to conditions that indicate possible misstatement due to error or fraud. Conditions, all these things that we just discussed, being alert, that attitude of being alert in itself is professional skepticism. Second, it says questioning mind. When such conditions occur, it asks you to be alert. And along with the fact that you are alert and that you are looking forward to such situations, then definitely the next thing that should come through you should be that you should ask questions. You should raise questions to people who are providing you this information about the fact that what exactly the other information that is available to you means, which means you will start asking questions about the truthfulness in a different manner. You'll start cross-questioning them. You will ask the same question to different people. You will try to get different evidences, oral, written, external confirmations, all of this to reach to the point whether there is truthfulness in whatever information has been provided to you. So first of all, you need to be alert. Second, when you are alert about a situation, when you have circumstances available, the important thing that you need to do is that you should ask questions. You should raise questions. You should try to reach to the point where you are able to cross-question them and find more information. And last is critical assessment of audit evidence, which essentially means since you have collected so much of evidence, you now need to critically assess it. Assess it in the light of circumstances available to you, whether the information provided, the way they are behaving, and the way external confirmations or other documents have been received, whether all things reach to the same point and put you to the point where you should be able to really understand the truthfulness or not the truthfulness of it or the falsification of it. Right. That was the definition, ACA. Now we reach to our second point. When exactly is the professional skepticism supposed to be maintained in an organization, in an audit that we are conducting? So the moment you begin the audit, you're supposed to be maintaining the professional skepticism, which means you should obviously consider things as genuine in the beginning, but if any circumstances, conditions are there, that should make you alert. Just the way the perfume, just the way the coals, just the way the documents being manipulated, just the way that, we are just going to discuss basically some examples here, which should make you clearly alert. That should be coming in another part just after this. So when exactly do you need to maintain professional skepticism? When should you carry it along with yourself while the audit? So it says that auditor shall plan and perform an audit with professional skepticism, recognizing that circumstances may exist that cause the financial statements to be materially misstated, which means while considering the circumstances that have been provided to you, the information, the indications, and everything, you should, while planning in the beginning, when basically you are defining the RAP procedures and FAP procedures, further audit procedures and risk assessment procedures. So majorly, while you're getting the knowledge of the business, along with that, when you are doing the RAP procedures, risk assessment procedures, where you basically get understanding of the internal controls of how they are working, that is the point where you're basically developing the alertness that needs to be maintained in specified areas which don't seem fine to you through your understanding or through your risk assessment procedures about the internal controls that you have gone through. Now, the thing is, does just planning needs the alertness since you have defined all the procedures? No, since it is this beginning part, but the performing part remains till the end, till the point where you are going to actually complete the audit and provide an opinion and give a report. So basically, from the moment planning is completed and performance is started till the end, you're going to maintain. So basically, the moment you begin your audit till the time you submit the audit report, you have to maintain professional skepticism. It says maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. Till when? Throughout the audit. Don't forget that. You will always maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit, from the beginning till the end, and specifically after your plan. That is the core area where you need to concentrate and put all your professional skepticism into action. Don't forget that. And this brings us to our next code. This code is basically with respect to alertness that we discussed. So alertness should be kept in specific circumstances. So this gives us 4 examples which are clearly defined where you should definitely be more alert, where you should actually maintain professional skepticism. So these are the places where you should be doing it. It's RC may fraud. RC may fraud. Now, may is an Hindi word, so please, I believe you understand. It means fraud in RC. So I'm beginning not from the down, but from up. RC may fraud. Fraud in RC. You can, go like that also. Fraud. It's not fraud, it's fraud. Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to say here is, the first point is reliability, although it is the second point as you may be seeing on the screen, but reliability is the first point as we have defined in our code. And C is contradictory evidences or contradiction. That is our first point, but second in our code. And then comes fraud. Basically, FR is with respect to fraud only. And last one is additional procedure. So this code is basically, it says that professional skepticism includes being alert to, for example, the first one says audit evidence that contradicts other audit evidence obtained. Here we get a definition. Here we get an example also along with, which says reconciliation given shows stock of 5,000, but insurance documents show stock of 3,500. So what exactly is being said here? The first thing, there is contradiction in one audit evidence to another. So basically, here we can say that there is a contradiction between what has been told orally and what is available in the written, or what is available in written in one place, maybe balance sheet, the depreciation amount, and the same amount in P&L, or the same amount in the books of accounts. So what we are saying here is that there could be a difference from one document given to you and another document available. So there is a discrepancy. That is what is the example saying. So the reconciliation shows that the figures available for stock are 5,000, although the amount given in this insurance is 3,500. So why this discrepancy? So we go about asking our management, why is the difference? And then Mr. Rangapani comes up and says, well, sir, we had bought the stock of 3,500, but our owner tell us to buy more because new order comes. The stock comes in the night and the new year starts bright. The next day, sir, new financial year starting. What can we do, sir? Because 5,000 stock now on last date, but insurance was 3,500 already and new insurance happening next day. Can't help, sir. What can we do? That's why the difference. Rangapani, you're always right. Now, the information given to us, the answer given to us clearly defines if we see the bill T. Now, what exactly we can do here is that we will go about asking for some more documents which show that the stock was received on the same night, and the insurance document further of 1,500 has also been created in the next day as they are giving us the version of theirs. So after comparing, we'll be able to clearly understand the truthfulness. But these things, these discrepancies, they push us to ask questions, do cross-questioning, which we just did. So these are inquiries and written documents that we will be looking forward into whenever such kind of contradictions arise. Okay, second point, information that brings into question the reliability of documents and responses to inquiries that are supposed to be used as audit evidence. So here another example comes. Only because management is not involved in any fraud in the past does not mean that financial statement manipulation cannot be done, or it is not possible. So essentially what this specific point says is that some information has come into your hands, into your knowledge, which creates a doubt on the documents that are being provided to you by the organization, by the management, and also the responses that you've been receiving about the queries that you have been asking these people, just like we asked in the previous one. So they provided us the documents, they provided us the responses to the queries. And in such situations, if new information comes to us, then whether they have given us an answer already about certain things, there will be a doubt even on their reliability, even if that is truth. And if a new information comes to us, now this new information can be information from within the organization or can be an information which has come from outside the information. Like, for example, there are two organizations. One is Apple organization, another is Banana organization. We are conducting the audit of Apple organization. And while we were conducting the audit, we were told by Apple organization that some stock of ours became scrap. It was perishable, or for some reasons it got decayed and it was not possible to use it for production. So we had put this specific stock in scrap and sold it. Okay. And we assumed it, that they are saying right, and we got all the documents of scrap selling and everything, and we were convinced about it. Now we were conducting audit of Banana Limited also. While conducting audit of Banana Limited, we saw a similar transaction there. The scrap being purchased and then the scrap being valued at market value or cost, whichever is higher as we take it. So it was then raised to its full value. Now, first of all, what exactly did they do? They received scrap. Scrap, the value condition, something which is something of which the condition has changed. You cannot trust that. You cannot really, believe the fact that the condition can suddenly abracadabra and it changes. That is not possible. So the condition cannot change. Basically, it is not possible that the overnight scrap value could change. Scrap condition can change. So essentially, we went on and asked in Banana Limited, the management, about all these things. And after so much of discussion, inquiries and documentations and everything, we could conclude very clearly that a fraud has been committed. And we could actually prove it. So now, lately we came to know the scrap was purchased, the specific stock was purchased from Apple Limited. Now these both happen to be related parties because of some common directors here. Now, because a fraud was conducted, to fill their own pockets, they sold it at a lower price and all the nonsense of the word to change and manipulate the profits in both the organizations, and the net worths also being changed since the stock values have been changed, and later bringing the values at a higher level to again show better net worths to obtain loans and so many other things. Now, this scenario brings into action a situation which puts doubt on all the reliability that we had put on the documents, on the genuineness that we considered, on the inquiries we conducted. So specifically with respect to a certain circumstance, it could be that we are not able to rely, or there could be a complete situation which raises doubt on the management, and as such on the complete documents as well as the inquiry responses, which are certainly going to be used as audit evidences to create conclusions and draw opinion at the end of it, and form an opinion at the end of it. Now, the third part, conditions that may indicate possible fraud. Example, 20% increase in consumption of petrol while production increases 5%. Now, what does that mean? So we went about asking that if the fuel is increasing, it should definitely mean that the production will also increase. You cannot simply, keep pushing the fuel inside and burning your furnaces and everything, and production is not getting raised up. Why? Sounds fishy. So we go about asking again. So we ask them, Mr. Rangapani, what is the new situation now? Why is it that you people have so much of troubles all the time? What is with this difference of fuel production? What is it? Sir, this time more problem, very big problem, sir. Our machinery went faulty and there was some problem in some parts of it, because of which the raw material put in it for a good long time keep going bad. And we could not understand. We thought the raw material was wrong, but eventually we came to know that the machinery was bad. So we had to put so much money into the repairs, sir. What to do? Bad year, sir. Very, very bad year. Mr. Rangapani, can you show me some repair invoices? Yes, of course, sir. I can even show you the old parts that we take out of those machines. Really? Show me that. Why didn't you sell it for scrap? The guy said he will come after 6 months. He is going to Dubai, sir. He will take all the scrap together. Good amount he pays us. Nice, very nice, Rangapani. So show me some of the invoices. And he showed me all of these invoices, and the GST has been paid on them, and service tax has been paid on them, GST has been paid on them, and external confirmations with respect to that organization in which this person is involved also shows clearly that it was repaired, the machines were repaired, and the production was again going good. We even inquired certain people who were the operators of the machine. Even these people and people around also told us that a bad situation had happened this year, and because of which, a lot of production got wasted. So this clears our mind. But if any of these informations were not available, if any of these answers were not there, if anything else would have been told, if the repair invoices were not available to us, then definitely we could have reached to the point where we would have inquired more, where we would have increased our level of procedures to find out the truthfulness of the situation given to us. If you're listening, very good. If you're not, kindly concentrate. Topic छूट जाएगा, आप भूल जाएंगे, then क्या करेंगे? Paper सिर के ऊपर है. आइए पढ़ते हैं. Let's study. Now, the last point that comes to us is situations that suggest need for audit procedures in addition to those required by the essays. Example here given is essay 402, rely on report if it is from a CA, but we may not rely because of the bad experience in other assignments with respect to this chartered accountant. So essentially, essay 402 talks about outsourcing of certain aspects of our accounting or debtor management, or maybe some other such things which relate to accounting. When we outsource such things to an outside organization, so basically we cannot visit that organization. There is a limitation to be visiting that organization. So what 402 suggests is that we receive an audit report about that audit conducted of that organization by another auditor, and since we all are at same parallel levels, we do consider the report to be fine. We do consider that a truthfulness has been told in the report. So essentially, but our experience with this specific chartered accountant has not been good. With respect to this organization, the outsourcing organization has not been good. As such, to believe if things are actually right or not also becomes quite difficult. So what we can do here is, essay 402 just defines that you can go about checking the audit report. But more things that we could do is that we can hire an expert to find out the truthfulness about the organization. or we can simply ask the organization, the outsourced organization, to allow us to conduct certain audit procedures to see the quality levels, to see that the jobs being given have been appropriately conducted and that the quality has been maintained appropriately. And in that situation, we are going over and above the procedures that have been told by SA 402. So any such situation which asks you, which creates a situation which makes you do more than what the standard is saying, is also something which can create a point of adopting more and more alertness. So this completes us 4 points: contradiction, audit evidence to audit evidence, and then reliability. Information has come to your knowledge that puts into question the reliability of documents or the responses. And third, fraud. Indicators. Some indications are there that come into your eyes which direct towards a fraud. And lastly, procedures in addition to those told by the standard. These 4 are RCMA fraud. Now, this brings us to our third part. So we have understood 2 parts already, ACA and then RCMA fraud. Now the third part is dole mera dole sir zyada ho gaya. Focus. So basically, awa means it is the combination of 3 words, double O and A. So first A is silent. Then first point that we are going to say here is overlooking unusual circumstances, overgeneralization, and the last one is inappropriate assumptions. Let's start with the points. So it says basically that if you maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit, it helps you reduce the risk of 3 things. The first thing, overlooking unusual circumstances. Overlooking unusual circumstances, the example is percentage change in fuel consumption leading to discovery of fraud. Now, we basically discussed this before, indications or indicators of fraud in our RCMA fraud. And basically what it says is that since there is a situation which is indicating you towards fraud, like the difference between the fuel consumption and the production, it was clearly showing there is a fraud. And if some information that is needed, the evidences that we are asking for, the invoices, the external confirmations, the general inquiries throughout the organization of the people who are connected to that machinery, if we basically overlook such circumstances, we will basically having a prima facie clear information available to us that there is something that is fishy because we are not able to understand the difference between the two. So in that situation, we should not ignore it. We should not say, last year Rangapani told that was not fraud, obviously. So this time also it must be the same. Their machines are always going bad. Now, you might overlook this. You might just ignore it. And this can lead to a fraud which might be much higher than what you have thought. So you should not ever overlook any kind of circumstances which are unusual. You should always ask for evidences, do complete procedures that you are supposed to do on your own, because that is your duty, to obtain reasonable assurance, to do appropriate procedures and collect appropriate evidences to keep yourself safe in the first place. You should not overlook. 2, overgeneralization when drawing conclusions from audit observations. Like salary of one department was checked and it was declared that salary of other 3 departments would also be the same. Now, just because the salary in one department is fine and you are trying to improve the efficiency, reduce the time spent, and your articles or probably CA would say, let's go and enjoy. Let's have some sun bath or maybe just chill. And for that sake, you might just overgeneralize and you may not do the complete checking in all the departments. This could bring another risk. There could be frauds that would have committed in the remaining departments, and the organization, the management might have showed you only those departments where they know the accounts are fine. So you should not overgeneralize. You should not say if one thing is fine, all other are fine. Okay, the third point that comes about is using inappropriate assumptions in determining the nature, timing, extent, NTE of audit procedures and evaluating the results thereof, which means the procedures that you are applying, the further audit procedures that you are applying based on the planning professional skepticism that you developed at that point of time, and the procedures that you defined at that time, the nature, timing, extent that you defined at that time. Now, if your assumptions have been inappropriate, like you trust the management and their integrity and honesty of the previous years, just because you think they were honest always does not mean they are going to be honest even now. They can any day go haywire. So they can any day commit a fraud. So considering their integrity is good, but creating an inappropriate assumption and based on that, not checking certain areas just because these people are honest, and since you don't need to check the sales executed by certain people because their past record is very good, is an absolute inappropriate assumption. You should not be doing that. So basically 3 points. One is overlooking unusual circumstances. Other is overgeneralization when drawing conclusions from audit observation. And lastly, using inappropriate assumptions in determining NT of audit procedures and evaluating the results thereof, right? So basically, you don't want to be doing any of these three things, because that's quite a risk to the whole audit, to the opinion that you would be creating, and it can put on stake your career also someday. So professional skepticism has to be maintained in all these conditions. You should never overgeneralize, you should never overlook, or you should not create any kind of inappropriate assumptions. Now, we are done with the bigger part of this specific topic. This brings us to the very last small part of this topic, which was from the definition that we were discussing, the definition that is alertness, being alert, questioning mind, and the last one, critical assessment. So critical assessment, what does it say? Professional skepticism is necessary to the critical assessment of audit evidence. And it also includes consideration of the sufficiency and appropriateness of audit evidence obtained in the light of circumstances, which means whatever the circumstances, the internal controls are good. You might not need to, go deeper and check everything. You might not need to check so many things. You might not need to deeply inquire. If internal controls are not good, you will definitely need to do more procedures. You will definitely need to collect more strong audit evidences, more written audit evidences, lesser oral audit evidences. So whatever the circumstances, whatever the surrounding circumstances that you may see, these circumstances always push you to think if the type of audit evidence is collected represents sufficiency and appropriateness. So here, for example, in the case where fraud risk factor already exists and there is a single document of specific nature, which is susceptible to fraud, and that is the sole supporting evidence for a material misstatement amount, material financial statement amount. Now, this means you have just one document available. In the area where this document you are talking about, if this is FD and this is related to a specific department which is doing the deposits and all the stuff, which is the cash department or the cash management department or the money department, finance department. This department, you've gone through and you have seen that there are fraud risk factors already. The information provided, the documents provided are not really very up to the mark. Information has come to you through a whistleblower that there is something fishy going on here and that people have been manipulating the accounts for their own benefits. In such circumstances, now FD happens to be the only document available. And since you have been always trusting these people, but new information from a whistleblower coming to you or information from outside, just the way we discussed in Banana and Apple Limited, any such information coming to you puts a doubt on the reliability of documents available or the responses available. In such situations, if that is a single document, but definitely this document must have been issued from someone, right? From the bank, you should go and ask the bank management. You should get an external confirmation to prove the fact that the document available to you is actually truthful, to remove the doubts, right? So wherever there is fraud risk factor and there is a document, which is the sole document, and this document is susceptible to the material misstatement that can happen. It is material to the financial statement. The amount is material. You must always try to collect psi. Now psi here would mean even if it is one evidence only, which could be an external confirmation from the bank, but it is qualitative. So it is appropriate. It is sufficient as well as appropriate. So always, with respect to the circumstances surrounding, you should try to understand the psi aspect also. Psi is sufficiency and appropriateness. Now the last parts, two parts, these two parts talk about things. One, that you should always accept the records and documents to be genuine. You should never consider them ingenuine prima facie unless the auditor gets any information or has reasons to believe that anything to the contrary. To the contrary means to believe the fact that they are not genuine. Like the way we discussed, that information coming to you makes it clear that there is something fishy about the documents, or reliability is under threat now. So till the time there is no such information available, you should always consider documents to be genuine prima facie. You should not go with an investigative mind, with the bloodhound mind. You should go with a watchdog mind. You should consider everything prima facie to be genuine. You should not go like, kuch to gadbad hai. No, don't go like that. You're not an investigator. You are an auditor, right? Okay. The next one is the auditor cannot be expected to disregard the honesty, the past experience of honesty and integrity of the entity's management and those charged with governance, which means since in the past, just the way we talked in the upper point, the management in the past have been good, or the management of a specific department has been good forever. And so that does not mean that you will overlook, overgeneralize, or you basically will create an inappropriate assumption. But it says definitely you will not, in the first place, disregard their integrity or honesty that you have seen in the past. Also, it says that nevertheless, a belief that the management and those charged with governance are honest and have integrity, it does not mean at all that it will relieve you of the need to maintain professional skepticism. You will maintain professional skepticism from beginning till the end, and at every point where there is alertness needed, where there is a fraud situation, where there is information available that causes you to doubt the reliability, or there is additional procedures you are applying. In any of these situations, you will maintain your professional skepticism despite the fact that management has been good. If such situations come, you will not reduce. If such situations come, you will definitely keep your professional skepticism high. Or it also says, allow the auditor to be satisfied with less than persuasive audit evidence when obtaining reasonable assurance, which means you should not consider a lesser persuasive audit evidence, something which is lesser convincing, something which is oral. They provide you an oral information. Sir, our machine is not working absolutely fine. Our machine went bad. There was fault. We could not do anything about it. Sir, so much problem. Very bad here. And you're like, yeah, very bad here. Everybody is having bad time. What can be done? So just because somebody is good to you in the past, or there is integrity, you should complete your work in the best possible manner, because it is your profession and integrity of your profession is at stake because of you. So you should get your all audit evidences right. You should get all your audit evidences needed, and you should definitely try to create that psi state, because psi is the basis of reasonable assurance. Your reasonable assurance comes only when there is psi. So this brings us to the end of the topic. And so we may recompile the whole topic as ACA plus RC में fraud plus and third, that you will do critical assessment, and there can be a single document which can be susceptible to fraud, susceptible to manipulation, and then comes genuineness of the documents and prima facie genuineness of documents. You should always consider it to be genuine. And lastly, that you will never disregard the honesty and integrity of the management in the past that you have seen. But it does not mean that you will not maintain professional skepticism, or you'll reduce the level of professional skepticism supposed to be maintained throughout the audit. And lastly, you will always be looking for more persuasive audit evidences and not lesser persuasive audit evidences, since you need to maintain the reasonable assurance, which means psi has to be there. Appropriateness is very important. This brings us to the end of the whole topic. I hope it must have got captured into your memory. And if you like the topic, please do put a comment and tell me what did you like. And even if you dislike, kindly tell me in the comment. put it down below and tell me what you did not like, so that I can improve on it. And if there are any topics that you would like me to go further with and explain you, any big topic, complex topic, I will come up with that also. I will be coming myself with many more topics, but I want you to tell me what is it that you will want to learn from me. I will also be coming with certain final concepts now. So keep tuned, keep connected, and study very hard. These days, people are getting their time wasted a lot. Just avoid that and surpass the unsurpassable. Try to understand that yourself. You don't get it, go Google. You can't get to Google. You can't understand from Google. Come back to me. I'll explain you. Namaskar. Thank you so very much.